Today I finally decided to share a story I had long postponed. If I don't tell it now, it will be like leaving your loved ones in danger. If you've been forgetting things more often lately, make sure to watch this video until the end. This symptom may not just be a consequence of aging. Surprisingly, one sleep-related habit you practice daily could gradually destroy your brain cells. Moreover, studies show that going to bed at a certain time doubles the risk of developing dementia. It is shocking that many elderly people go to sleep during this dangerous period. As a doctor, I met many elderly patients and observed how a simple change in sleep time led to noticeable improvements in memory, speech, and concentration. This content is not widely known yet. These research data are mainly discussed among medical professionals, and it could become a surprising turning point in treatment approaches, allowing a departure from reliance on medications. Imagine, the habit of falling asleep at this time every night can radically change your life in 10 years. In this video, I will reveal all the secrets, a story about time that will make the sunset of your life bright and rich. Let's begin right now. Haven't you noticed waking up once or twice in the night? It's an unpleasant feeling when you go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and then struggle to fall asleep again. Has this been happening more often lately? If so, this video could be a small turning point for your brain health. The fact is that sleep after 60 is completely different from youthful sleep, yet many still try to sleep as they did before, believing it to be normal. However, the brain functions differently now. If you don't make changes, even while sleeping, you will feel tired and your brain won't recover overnight. Why does this happen? Let's check one thing right now. Do you go to bed before 11 p.m.? Or does sleep come only after midnight? This question is important because the time you fall asleep affects whether brain cells recover or become damaged. It's crucial to understand that it's not just about lack of sleep, but also that the structure of sleep changes with age. After 60, the level of the hormone melatonin, responsible for sleep, significantly decreases. The time when sleep came with sunset is gone, and even at night your body strives to stay awake, making it harder to fall asleep. But that's not all. Brain patterns that promote deep sleep gradually weaken. Now, even while lying down, you can fall asleep but not feel that you are sleeping. It is during this period that the brain's restorative function stops. Here's a question. Do you ever have a foggy feeling in your head in the mornings when words escape you or memories seem unclear? It's a signal that your brain hasn't rested. You slept but didn't restore your strength. Harvard University studies show that during sleep, the brain accumulates beta-amyloid protein, which is one of the main causes of dementia, as is well known. It is terrifying to realize that even 1 or 2 days without deep, restorative sleep can lead to a buildup of toxins in the brain. And if this happens regularly, a person who was once very clear and focused begins to slowly change. However, as soon as a sleep routine is established, memory, attention, and emotional state gradually return to normal. In my practice, there was a case of a 70-year-old patient who woke up more than 3 times at night. After changing his sleep routine, he began to sleep soundly and without waking, and his forgetfulness strangely decreased. Many likely face similar problems. Changes in sleep quality are a natural process that occurs in most people after 60. However, only those who recognize these changes and adjust their habits can protect their brain. The question is when exactly one needs to sleep to allow the brain to recover. Some doctors claim that adhering to a specific sleep time promotes the brain's natural cleansing and restores its ability to remember. Now I will tell you about the key time frames and the golden hour when brain cells truly regenerate. Don't disconnect and stay with us. Have you ever heard the saying, late sleep destroys the brain? It's not just a scare tactic. After 60 years, the state of the brain the next day can completely depend on the time you went to bed. The habit of falling asleep after midnight is the most unfavorable period for the brain. Many continue to watch television until midnight and then only go to sleep. But at this time, the brain is already missing the golden time for recovery. If this happens regularly, deep sleep begins to shorten and the feeling of wakefulness increases. That's why, even if you sleep, you do not feel rested. One study found that people who fall asleep at 9 in the evening get significantly more deep sleep than those who go to bed after 10. The brain achieves the best recovery in the first 2 hours after sunset. If this time is missed, even a long sleep will not activate the brain's cleansing mechanisms. So think about what time you went to bed last night. If it was after midnight, your brain likely wasn't functioning properly. The more often this habit repeats, the slower memory, speech, and emotional control deteriorate. Moreover, late sleep disrupts the clearance of beta amyloid, a protein associated with dementia. It feels like waking up with a clogged drain in the brain. Eventually, familiar faces start to seem unfamiliar, and familiar roads become confusing. This can all begin with a late bedtime. But don't worry. I will tell you in detail about the most important time when the brain recovers, known as the golden time of sleep, with scientific evidence that adhering to this time can restore not only deep sleep, but also memory. Now let's move on to the main question. When should one sleep for the brain to recover properly? The answer to this question is surprisingly simple. Shifting the habit of going to bed late by just 2 hours can radically change the state of the brain. The period from 9 to 11 in the evening is when recovery for the brain occurs. Medical research shows that melatonin, released at this time, promotes deep sleep and helps restore brain cells. This is a period when the quality of sleep reaches its peak. If you can't fall asleep during this time period, the brain loses the ability to recover during the day. Interestingly, just 1 hour's difference in bedtime can significantly affect brain functions the next day. In one study, a comparison was made between a group that went to sleep at 10 in the evening and a group that went to bed at midnight. The results showed that the first group demonstrated much better performance in concentration, speech rate, and memory retention. This suggests that the timing of our sleep is more important than the number of hours we sleep. Nevertheless, many elderly people are most active during this period. They may watch television, spend long hours on their phones, or have late dinners. Such habits suppress melatonin production and prevent the brain from relaxing even when night has fallen. As a result, the eyes close, but the mind remains awake. Such a dream cannot be deep and does not provide proper restoration for the body, spirit, or emotions. In fact, the greatest restoration and cleansing of the brain occurs from 10 in the evening to 2 at night. If you miss this period, experiencing deep sleep will be difficult, no matter how many hours you spend in bed. Therefore, doctors recommend a simple yet effective tip. Try to go to bed 30 minutes earlier. This habit can significantly improve memory, concentration, and overall emotional state. It is especially noticeable when in the morning the mind is clear and the chest is not tight, indicating that the brain has received the necessary rest. These changes do not require medication, but only a change in bedtime. It is important not only to adjust the time, but also to get rid of habits that hinder this process. Next, I will talk about 3 habits that unconsciously hinder sleep and about a nighttime routine that will be beneficial for the brain. You may try to fall asleep in silence, but sleep does not come. It is clear that you are tired from the day, but as soon as you close your eyes, thoughts begin to swirl in your head. The reason is that habits that disrupt normal sleep have rooted themselves in your body. Especially after 60, the rhythm of falling asleep becomes extremely sensitive. Even minor irritations can block melatonin production and return the brain to a state of wakefulness. There are typical habits that many of us repeat unconsciously. Firstly, it is the long time spent in front of the television or smartphone screen before sleep. The blue light from the screens makes the brain perceive it as daytime, which stops the production of melatonin and makes it difficult to fall asleep, especially if you are watching something stimulating, like a video on a platform or the news. The brain falls asleep in an excited state. If you are watching this video before bed, I recommend you finish it and then turn off the screen. Secondly, a late dinner or snacks of fruits and appetizers can also interfere with sleep. When the stomach starts working, the brain receives a signal that the digestion process is still ongoing and cannot switch to rest mode. Especially sweet treats and caffeinated tea can stay in the body longer than we think, causing wakefulness before sleep. Thirdly, restless thoughts commonly overwhelm before bedtime. What is planned for tomorrow? Why can't I sleep? These thoughts do not allow the brain to rest, and even after falling asleep, it continues to wake itself. At first, such habits seem insignificant, but over time they drastically affect the quality of sleep. So, how to deal with this? The method is extremely simple. Create a routine that allows your brain to relax an hour before sleep. Dim the lights in the room, and instead of the television, play calming music or radio. It's also helpful to take deep breaths and reflect on the day. The time to fall asleep is both a habit and an environment. With a little support, the brain can return to full sleep, which will protect memory and emotions. Now I will examine 6 common sleep problems in the elderly and address them one by one. First, can one sleep during the day? A daytime nap is beneficial, but only if it lasts no longer than 30 minutes and occurs before 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Longer naps can disrupt nighttime sleep, causing the brain to confuse day with night. In contrast, a short and light daytime nap helps reduce fatigue and improve memory. Secondly, is it normal to wake up frequently at night? With age, after 60, the amount of deep sleep decreases, so waking up once or twice during the night is natural. However, if you wake up too often and find it hard to fall asleep again, it's worth checking your sleeping environment and evening habits. Thirdly, is it possible to continue taking sleeping pills? They may be helpful in the short term, but long-term use can disrupt your sleep rhythm. Sleeping pills can lead to memory loss and increase the risk of falls, so be sure to consult a doctor. Fourthly, why does sleep elude me when I lie down? This happens because the mind cannot stop the flow of thoughts. The body lies still, but the mind continues to race and worry. In that case, it's better to get up, drink a glass of water, or simply close your eyes and count your breaths. This might help. Fifthly, I often wake up at night due to the need to use the bathroom. Is there a way to deal with this? Frequent nighttime urination is one of the most common causes of sleep disruption. First, reduce fluid intake in the evening. Second, make sure to use the bathroom before bed. Third, monitor the room temperature to avoid it being too cold. Sixth, why do I wake up at the same time? For example, many wake up around 3 in the morning. This may be related to a fixed biorhythm or accumulated stress before sleep. In this case, try to maintain a consistent wake-up time and increase activity during the day. The sleep rhythm will stabilize over time. Such accumulation of minor discomforts can significantly worsen sleep quality. So just check your habits, and the brain can regain stability. Now let's listen to the story of elderly people who really managed to recover. 74 years old, Ivan Petrovich from Moscow noticed a few months ago that his memory had become blurry. He couldn't remember if he had taken his medication yesterday and often forgot where he had put his wallet, causing a lot of confusion. His family was worried. Is dementia starting? They gently knocked on the hospital door. The examination revealed no serious deviations, but an important detail was found in his life habits. Ivan Petrovich had long fallen asleep only after 2 o'clock in the morning and woke up late. He shifted his sleep time to 10 o'clock in the evening and began listening to only calm music after 9 in the evening. Within 2 weeks, his morning hours changed. His mind became clearer, the feeling of being stuck in speech diminished, and the deep anxiety in his chest gradually disappeared. Moreover, he picked up a book again and began to comfortably interact with his grandchildren. This small change marked the beginning of his return to himself. Another story concerns 70-year-old Anna Ivanovna from St. Petersburg. Every night she woke up twice, and each morning began with fatigue. As soon as she lay down to sleep, the events of the past day began to swirl in her mind, and she could toss from side to side for 2 to 3 hours. One day she learned about the sleep routine. Before bed, she dimmed the lights, wrote down her restless thoughts on paper, and put her smartphone in another room. Additionally, she gave up her usual evening coffee and at 9 o'clock wrapped herself in a warm blanket while playing soft music. On the first day, falling asleep was difficult, but after a week, the time of falling asleep began to shift earlier, and the number of awakenings decreased. Anna Ivanovna noted that waking up in the morning to see sunlight had become pleasant. Previously, tears flowed for no reason, but now her heart was gradually calming down. Time in solitude no longer frightened. Both Ivan Petrovich and Anna Ivanovna opened a small door, but significant changes began within them. Now it's your turn. I hope you try to make time for your sleep tonight. Inside you, perhaps, awaits a rebirth of self, a restoration of memories, and the return of a smile. Our brain sends a signal each night that it needs rest. To accept this signal or ignore it determines the course of your life the next day. Sleep is not just rest, but a time when the brain brings us back to life. Perhaps the stories you heard seemed heavy, but I believe that if you listen to the end, you are already ready for change. Have you not felt the fear that memory begins to blur? Do you not feel upset when words suddenly get stuck and the faces of people are forgotten? Did a thought flicker in the corner of your heart? What if this happens to me, too? The key to overcoming this fear lies in how you organize your sleep time. Dedicate just 30 minutes in one day to give your brain a chance to recover. At first, it may seem difficult and sleep won't come easily, but soon your body and brain will start to adapt to the new rhythm. If the next morning you feel clarity in your head and peace in your heart, it means you are on the right path to returning to life. Sleep is the foundation of the habit of self-care. This small habit changes memory, helps manage emotions, preserves conversations, and strengthens relationships. Someone said, by changing the night, the day changed, and by changing the day, life returned. Try to create a sleep routine that suits your body. Start, for example, by turning off the television and dimming the lights after 8 in the evening. First, at 9 in the evening, turn off your phones and enjoy calm music. Second, at 10 in the evening, go to bed. Close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. Third, if you wake up in the middle of the night, don't worry and just close your eyes again. These simple habits will help restore your brain and smoothly bring harmony back to your life. Try to implement at least one of the recommendations you heard today. Change just one thing, and tomorrow morning, see what changes it brings. There is still time. This moment could be the first opportunity to take care of your mind. I hope this message helps you change your night and protects your morning. Thank you.